of our soul. Come on, y'all, let us dream, let it pass. Come on, y'all, let us dream, let it pass.
Everyone who's up there needs it. That's up there.
We have come too far.
Come too far.
We won't turn around.
We won't turn around.
We'll flood the streets with justice.
We'll flood the streets with justice.
We are freedom bound.
We are freedom bound.
We have come too far.
We have come too far.
We won't turn around.
We won't turn around.
We'll flood the streets with justice.
We'll flood the streets with justice.
We are freedom bound.
We are freedom bound.
Everywhere we go,
Everywhere we go,
people wanna know
people want to know
who we are.
who we are.
So we tell them
So we tell them
we are the immigrants,
we are the
the
immigrants,
mighty, mighty immigrants,
the mighty, mighty immigrants,
fighting for justice
fighting for justice
and a dream act.
and the Dream Act.
Everywhere we go,
Everywhere we go,
people wanna know
people want to know
who we are.
who we are.
So we tell them
So we tell them
we are the immigrants,
we are the immigrants,
mighty, mighty immigrants,
the mighty, mighty immigrants,
fighting for justice
fighting for justice
and a dream act.
and the Dream Act.
Everywhere we go,
Everywhere we go,
people wanna know
people want to know
who we are.
Central. That's the place that we are here today. It's an idea come from the hearts of people that really want to make sure that people are taking space and that there's not one day that members of Congress and their staffs pass through these hallways and see that we are holding space, that we're not going anywhere, and that we're going to win. Immigrant youth across the country are here. I know folks are here from Florida, from Texas, Colorado, all states in New York, and we are here to assert our dignity and our humanity. I'm joined by other partners of the Defend Our Dreams campaign who will qualify for the agreement. Nakasek, shout out to Nakasek. Shout out to NASA and the Center for Community. The Fair Immigration Reform Movement. The National Immigration Law Center. The Southern Border Community Coalition. The Dr. Black Network. And Church World Services. But I am also glad to be joined by Senator Richard Durbin of Illinois, a true champion for immigrant young people and our families. Yeah, we love you! Congress needs to pass the DREAM Act, and they need to do it this year. We are here to say that members of Congress must use every tool at their disposal to make that happen. The DREAM Act must pass because immigrant youth like me and folks in this tent, we're in great danger. And that's not being dramatic, it's the truth. Our brothers and sisters are in detention centers right now. People just driving down the street are feeling the urgency and the pain that you get in your gut when you feel a police car behind you. And Trump is president. And so if people and Republicans want urgency, just look at our faces. Look at our mothers and look at our fathers. This needs to happen this year. 122 of us are losing protections every day. Over 14,000 will lose protections by the end of the year. And millions more, like my friend Justin, Juan Manuel, Rodrigo, and 10-year-old Rosa Maria, are not even protected by DACA. We're the lucky ones. They are in danger right now. The questions for members of Congress is whether they will take action to protect immigrant youth or take action to kill our protections and see us hauled into detention camps and be deported. There is no middle ground. For Speaker Ryan and Republican leaders, I will not miss my words. You have stood in the way of the DREAM Act for decades. You have done nothing, and now we and the entire country have been pushed to the 11th hour. We did not set the timeline. Politicians did. And now that we are here, we intend to win. The Democrats who say that they stand with immigrant young people, this is the time to be able to come out publicly and follow the leadership of our champion, Richard Durbin, and other folks that have said that they will ensure that we get this done by the end of the year. They need to become dream heroes for us. Dream Central is a beautiful space where leaders are getting training, and we are singing, and we are dancing, and we are renewing our spirit because we have 9 days to go. With Dream Central, we are declaring for all those to see that we are here, and we are here to stay. And politicians, I want you to know that we know politics. We know strategy. We can see and smell tricks, and we can see and smell delays. But know what? We also can see a pathway to victory. And we need each and every one of you to ensure that people like me and all people that are not protected have protections by the end of this year. People hate that Washington can't deliver the most basic and most common sense solutions. And this is the moment of history for politicians to buck that intelligence and for people to see that Washington can work when people like us come together to make things happen. Our strategy is a constant presence. We will be here day in and day out, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week until the end of this year. We are not leaving with our dream. We are escalating actions. We are using popular culture, and winning the difference is our hearts. Our winning difference is our hearts. Our ancestors and the people that have said that this is the right thing to do right now. Congress must pass the DREAM Act this year. Raise your hand if your life will change when the DREAM Act is passed. Now, all of those, raise your hand if you're ready to give it your all to ensure that we get it at the end of this year. You're feeling it? You're feeling it? Yeah. people all across the country that are looking at us in this moment. And to our mothers and our brothers and our sisters, we say, no se preocupen, los jóvenes indocumentados estamos aquí para pelear. No nos vamos a ir a la casa hasta que ganemos el Dream Act porque sabemos que vamos a ganar. A los demócratas y a los republicanos les decimos, ya basta de espera, necesitamos el Dream Act para el fin de este año. Y ahora en este momento le damos las gracias al senador Dick Durbin y le pedimos que venga a decirnos unas palabras. This moment, I know he probably understands Spanish, but at this moment, we're going to turn it over to Senator Durbin and just say thank you so much for your leadership.
Thank you so much, and thanks to all of you here with United We're Doing. Let me introduce two people who came with me that you should know. The first one is a man named Joe Zogby. This is my secret weapon. When I'm getting the attention in the press, Joe's doing all the work. I cannot tell you how many people Joe Zogby has helped, personally helped, who are facing deportation and facing some of the worst days in their lives. Joe Zogby was the one who delivered for them over and over and over again. He's been the person who wrote the original DREAM Act, and he's been involved in every negotiation. He is my brains behind this. Give it up for Joe Zogby. And with him is a relatively new member of my staff, Emily, who is completely supportive of what we're doing, and she brought the Skittles. Where's Emily? Right here. She got the Skittles somewhere. So thank you, Emily, for being here. So let me say a word about this moment in history. Many times I've been on the floor of the Senate giving speeches about you, telling the story of how you grew up here in America, pledging allegiance to our American flag, singing our national anthem, believing you were part of America and should be part of America, and taking lessons in the history of this country. And when you take a lesson in the history of this country, you'll realize that you are right now standing on one of the most critical pieces of real estate in America. Because it's here, right where we're standing, throughout the history of this country, that people like you have come so that the people working in that dome up there could look down on the mall and see the need for change. It was the World War I veterans who came here begging for some money for having served their country. They ran them off with horses, beat them, and ran them out of the District of Columbia. It was the people during the Civil Rights Movement who came here and used this mall with Dr. Martin Luther King and others to explain why it was important for America to have freedom and equality when it came to race. It was the disabled community who stepped up here, many of them in wheelchairs, and came to this mall to gather so that the people in the Capitol would know it is time for disabled Americans to have the same rights as all Americans. And it was almost a year ago that millions of women came to this Capitol Mall. Came here on the Women's March in Washington in one of the largest gatherings ever. Over and over again, it's the real estate that we stand on that has been the launching pad for new rights and new opportunities in America. Today is no different. It is time to pass the DREAM Act and pass it now. Let me tell you what it means. What it means is not only an opportunity for hundreds of thousands to be part of America's future, it is an opportunity for the rest of us to reaffirm who we are as Americans, what we believe in, what our values are, what justice really means to us. This is a simple matter of justice. That young people who were brought here undocumented will be willing to be given an opportunity to be part of our future. I started this crusade, this trek, 16 years ago when I introduced the DREAM Act. And when I would give a speech like this back in Chicago, there would be many students who would listen very quietly, nod their heads, and say nothing. And then I would go out to my car in the darkness of the night, and there would be a young student standing there, a young person. They would look in both directions, and they would say, "Senator, I'm a dreamer. Help me. I need your bill." That was the beginning. But then things started to change. When all of you were told by your parents, "Don't you dare tell people you're undocumented," naturally, you told everyone you were undocumented. You sent us your stories. You sent us color photographs of your lives. And some of you may have already been featured in some of my speeches on the floor of the Senate. And what I found in over 100 speeches, which I've given on the floor of the Senate about Dreamers, is the people in the galleries and all the staff stop talking when I tell these stories. Because your stories are the most convincing things that I can use to tell my colleagues it is time for the DREAM Act. So we're at that moment in history. where we are standing up proud, standing up for others who can't be here with us today, and telling the people in the Capitol we need it now. And I will tell you, we have friends among the Republicans. All the Democrats support the DREAM Act. I'm proud of my party for that. But we have friends among the Republicans, and I want to tell you a few of them. One of them is Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham, the original co-sponsor of this DREAM Act with me, has shown real courage on this. Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, who put out a tweet last week and said, "My wish for Christmas is pass the DREAM Act now." God bless you, Lisa Murkowski. Cory Gardner of Colorado, also an original co-sponsor of the DREAM Act, and a person I want to especially highlight, Jeff Flake. Jeff Flake of Arizona. This is a person who decided to say to the Republican leadership, if you want my vote on your important issues, you give me DACA and give it to me now. Yeah. That's what we need. And I want to salute him especially. It took real courage for him to do that. So we continue to work on it. I wish I could tell you that I'm totally confident we're going to get it done. I can't say that because I don't want to mislead you. But I'll tell you this. You can count on me to give a total commitment to use every minute of every day to move us to the moment where the DREAM Act becomes the law of the land, and hundreds of thousands, just like those who gathered here, are finally given a chance, officially, to be citizens and part of America's future. That has been my dream for 16 years. It is still my dream. Let's pass the DREAM Act now. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Durbin. I think that what Senator Durbin just highlighted about the support of Republicans and Democrats is that it's a tenet of United We Dream and Immigrant Young People that we work with whoever wants to work with us to provide protection for ourselves and for our families. That we do not owe ourselves to the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, and that we are here for the justice of immigrant young people and our families each and every day. And for that, part of that is uplifting the voices of people and ensuring that young people are able to be at the corner of strategy making. But I will say this thing, for Republicans, we have been every day hitting them hard. And we will continue to do that every single day until the end of this year. I will say for Democrats who say nice things about immigrant young people, they need to be able to come out. And we need that to happen right now. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to my sister, Karina Velasco, and asking her to share her words of encouragement and her fire to ensure that the DREAM Act passes this year. Thank you, Karina.
Nice to go back to the hill. Good to see you all.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to thank you for inviting us. My journey began 14 years ago. I came as a 14-year-old undocumented girl from Mexico. I've been here living for the past 14 years, and I have done nothing more than just help my community. I have worked as a social worker for providing case management services for unaccompanied minors, and I'm proud of that. But because I see the struggle of every day having to find out that more and more individuals are losing their DACA, I decided to leave my job to become a community organizer and to continue organizing the youth in my community so that they continue to speak up, to tell their stories, to share that this is an issue that is affecting every single one of us, and that if the Clean DREAM Act is not passed now, thousands of lives are going to continue to be affected every day. I'm here to continue fighting, not just for myself, but for my brother, for my family, and for those in my community. Because I see the struggle every single day when I see families being separated, when I see deportations happening. And what I want to ask Congress is, whose side are you on for this Christmas, for this year? Whose side are you on so that we can pass this Clean DREAM Act? Because we dreamers are not cheap bargains. We are here to demand a Clean DREAM Act and to demand that our lives are not being at risk anymore. That our brothers and sisters are not afraid to come out of the shadows, to say that they're undocumented, that they have no fault of their own for coming to the U.S. and looking for a brighter and better future. So I want to thank you for that, and just much love and much peace to everyone.
What do we want?
DREAM Act!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
DREAM Act!
When do we want it?
Now!
Up next, we have our sister Andrea Guerrero from the Southern Border Coalition.
Thank you so much. I traveled all the way from San Diego on Monday, despite it being about 80 degrees colder here, because we have so much at stake. Like all of you here know, we have so much at stake, so many lives at stake. Let's be clear. The crisis we're in right now is a crisis of the president's making. He has endangered the lives of ourselves, our families, and our friends and our community members. In the border region, 1 in 5 dreamers in the country live. They live, they work, they reside, they love, they learn. They are there as part of our community. We don't want to see anyone in danger in our community. And we know that as part of the negotiations around DREAM, we know that there's a conversation around border security. And we want to remind members of Congress that in the border region, where 15 million people live, when you increase the deportation force in that area, you put us all at risk. You put agents at CBP, the largest agency in this country, you put them in a position of power with resources, guns, you give them the authority to harm us, to take our lives and our liberty, and you do it in the name of security. And so we say to you, remember that 1 in 5 dreamers live in our border communities, that all of us are affected when you increase the deportation force, that Border Patrol is ICE in a green uniform, and that we absolutely stand with all of the dreamers and all of the people of goodwill in this country who want to see this dream fulfilled. We want to see this dream fulfilled now, before the end of the year, because we cannot afford to have all of these lives at stake. We cannot afford the tragedy that this president is interested in delivering to us. We don't need a Grinch for Christmas. We do not need a Grinch. We need goodwill, we need peace, we need love, and we need a DREAM Act passed now. Thank you so much.
All right, everywhere we go, people want to know, who we are, so we tell them, we are the immigrants, the mighty, mighty immigrants, fighting for justice, and our families, Woo! Up next, I want to welcome our brother, Jonathan Jays Green. He is the founder of the Dr. Black Network. He is a dear brother to United We Dream, and he's a badass. So come
Jonathan!
Good afternoon, everyone.
I love you!
You too. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon!
We are here 9 days out. 9 days out from finally passing some legislation that will provide relief to people, undocumented young people like myself in this country. I represent over 56,000 undocumented black young people that are in this country and that are criminalized because of who they are, right? The reason why we are a part of this DREAM Act fight is because our undocumented young people and our families deserve protection, but we also need to be mindful of what happens when we do those negotiations with the DREAM Act. I'm talking about the importance of preserving programs that benefit black immigrants. Those are non-negotiables in this moment. I'm talking about programs like the diversity visa programs that allows for over close to 50,000 visas, and 40 to 50% of those are generally African immigrants in the past few years. Diversity visa program and programs like that are non-negotiable in this moment, right? It's really important that we are clear about our intent, right? We are fighting for a clean DREAM Act that protects people like me, but does not hurt, right, the rest of our families, right? We need to be talking about these demands in this moment that we're in. Members of Congress, both parties keep on playing games with our lives, and it is sickening to me. It is sickening to me because I know and I see the state of emergency that our folks are in across the country, and the time to act is now. I want to make it very clear that yes, we're holding Republicans accountable, but it's also on Democrats as well. The very same way that our undocumented young people and our families every day do within everything that is in our power to survive, we need them, members of Congress, to do everything within their power to pass a solution before the end of the year. I'm over night speeches that don't come with action. The time is now. Thank you.
Shout out to Jonathan. All right, so a lot of the times people say like, oh, like United We Dream and immigrant young people, y'all are rowdy. Like all y'all do is come and do actions here. Like, you know, y'all need to be like strategic and stuff, right? And we say, where you been? Like that's what we do. But the reality is that there's also, we are led by strong women, right? That understand policy, that understand politics, and that represent us in the halls of Congress. And one of those strong women is my sister Diana Priego from the National Immigration Law Center.
Thank you, Grace. I always love coming here because I always just get so fired up with every word that comes out of your mouth. But yes, I'm a policy associate at the National Immigration Law Center, but above all of that, I am undocumented, I'm unafraid, and I'm here to stay. And, you know, they asked me to share my story, but I think I don't need to do that because I share the same story that many of you do. This country is my home. I've been here since I was 3 years old, and this is the place where I belong. This is the place that I know my family belongs to. This is the place that I'm going to fight to stay in. Like many of you, I actually grew up knowing that I was undocumented. And that gave me struggles that many of our peers did not get to have. That meant that the police were not trusted. That meant that we were afraid of something that is supposed to protect us. And that is why when I went to college, when I tried to go to college, and I had, even after earning a full tuition scholarship in South Carolina, it still took every single member of my 6-member family just to pay for room and board for me to achieve my dream. It took a village. But now I'm here every single day in DC, fighting for my rights, fighting for your rights, fighting for the rights of my family and my community, and I'm not going to give up until we get what we want. Have been making promises for a very long time, and we need action now. Over 12,000 people have already lost their status. There's no time to wait till March. 122 people lose their status every day, and allow me to remind you that many, many more never even qualified for the DACA protections. And they are still living in fear and uncertainty and driving down roads afraid of police. And so the time to act is now. We have an opportunity to get this done before the end of the year, and so every member of Congress, Republican and Democrat, please listen to us, because we're making it very clear. We expect you to pass this before the end of the year, do the right thing, don't go home to your families and leave our families in limbo. Pass the DREAM Act before you leave, before the end of this year.
All right, up next we have our sister Hee-Gon Kim. She represents the Korean Research Center in Nakasek. And I want to say, the Nakasek was the originator of this campaign having constant presence. They were outside of the White House 24/7, 24 hours a day. They've been leading the fight in Congress and ensuring that Democrats and Republicans do not go anywhere without seeing them in the hallways. And they are for sure, one of our greatest partners. So a big shout out to Nakasek and giving it up to our sister Hee-Gon Kim.
안녕하세요. 저는 캘리포니아에서 온 다카 딸을 둔 엄마입니다.
My name is Heath Kang. I'm from California and I'm the mother of a DACA recipient.
다카 딸을 둔 엄마들은 제 느낌을 다 알 것입니다.
All mothers with DACA-mentored children will understand how I feel.
요즘 하루하루가 살얼음판을 걷는 느낌입니다.
Every day I feel like I'm walking on thin ice.
운전면허도 없어지고 학비도 못 내고 직장에서도 해고되는 이런 상황들이 얼마나 우리 딸을 불안하게 하는지 모릅니다.
Because of the Trump administration's decision to end DACA, my daughter will lose her driver's license, won't be able to pay for her school tuition, and will be fired from work. These are the things that make her wake up in fear every day.
부모인 제가 느끼는 미국은 아주 근사하고 멋진 나라였습니다.
As a parent,
정의롭고 사람을 우선으로 하는 링컨이나 오바마 같은 훌륭한 대통령을 나라를 다스리는 꿈의 나라로 생각해서 딸의 미래를 이 땅에서 키우고 싶었습니다.
I decided to raise my daughter in this great country where presidents like Lincoln and Obama work to create a more just America for our people.
그러나 나는 실망하고 있습니다.
But I'm very disappointed.
여지껏 교육 다 시켜놓고 80만이나 되는 이 젊은 친구들에게 사형과 같은 결정을 내리는 이 현실이 안타깝습니다.
It breaks my heart that this administration has so callously betrayed our 800,000 young immigrants who have grown up here, attended school here, and made lives for themselves here.
내 가족만 편하다고 좋은 사회가 되는 겁니까?
Are we a better country when we turn our backs on our immigrant youth?
No.
우리는 근래 많은 사람들이 정신적 문제로 문제를 일으키는 일들을 많이 봅니다.
We see today in this country that many people struggle with their mental health.
다카 청년들도 엄청난 정신적 스트레스를 받고 있습니다.
DACA recipients feel that tremendous amount of stress every day.
빨리 드림액이 통과해야 되는 이유는 바로 이 불안에서 벗어나 마음 편히 살 수 있고 안정된 미래가 필요하기 때문입니다.
We need to pass a Clean Dream Act because our immigrant youth deserve to live their lives here without fear.
그 어려움 속에서도 그들은 커뮤니티 활동가 등 훌륭한 사람들로 자라났습니다.
Even amidst their fear and anxiety, our dreamers have become incredible members of their community.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
드림액만 통과한다면 더 열심히 일할 것이고 여러분의 따뜻한 이웃이 되고자 더 노력할 사람들이란 것을 나는 확신합니다. 맞습니까?
We know that when the Dream Act passes, our immigrant youth will get the opportunity they so deserve to continue to work hard and live amongst their family and friends. Am I right?
Yes!
저는 지난 8월에도 백악관 앞에서 22일간 밤낮으로 호소했고 지금도 다시 DC에 와서 22일간 밤낮으로 의원들을 찾아다니며 청소년들을 위해 올바른 결정을 내리도록 호소하고 있습니다.
This past August, I spent 22 days, day and night, in front of the White House to save DACA. I'm here again in D.C. for 22 days to work day and night to meet with Congress members and demand that they do the right thing for our immigrant youth.
이 중요한 시기에 우리에게 힘을 주기 위해 모든 사람들이 같이 참여해 주시길 바랍니다.
I ask that you join us in this critical moment in history to fight for what is right.
참여 방법은 매일매일 상하 의원에게 전화를 걸어주십시오. 또 DC에 와서 같이 의원들을 만나러 가도 됩니다.
You can help by calling your Congress members or joining us here in D.C. to demand that they pass a Clean Dream Act by the end of this year.
12월 19일 날 무능한 의회가 깨어날 수 있도록 의사당 앞에 모입시다!
This December 19th, let's gather together to shake things up in Congress!
참여 방법은 웹사이트 낙가색.org를 방문하시면
If you would like to join us in our fight, please check out nakasec.org for more information. That's N as in no wall, A-K-A-S-E-C.
감사합니다, 여러분.
Thank you so much,
드림액을 통과시킵시다!
Let's pass the Dream Act!
She's the real badass. All right, so we've come to the end of this piece. I will say that. Can you feel the energy in the tent?
Yeah!
You feel it in your body?
Yeah!
Now we have 9 more days. or so till the 22nd to make this happen. We have said very clearly that Republicans have no excuse, that the American public is on our side, and that they cannot have reservations about ensuring that this happens. On the Democrat side, you have to pick a side. You're either on the side of the deportation agent, or you're on the side of people, young people around this tent, people around this country, and undocumented young people. There is no excuse. And so for people in this next couple of days, I will say that things are going to change every single day. That you'll see tweets and political articles and other things that are going to make your stomach kind of go into a knot. Who's experienced that already? Every day, someone says that they think that what they know what's happening, and the reality is that the people over there, they're really complex, and they have cliques, and they have like egos, just like a lot of us do, and they're trying to figure it out how to make sure that this happens. And what we are very, very clear, the things that we can control is what happens on the outside. And this tent being here is one piece of the constant presence that they need to feel. We need to be their shadows. We will be their shadows. And so I don't want you, the biggest piece here is who has had a moment in the last couple of days where like in the back of your mind there's a thing that says like maybe we won't win. What happens if that doesn't happen? Who's had that? I have that too. But when that happens to me, I am reminded that we are immigrant young people that came here to this country with our parents, and that we surmounted every single obstacle that was in our way. That we grew up poor, that we grew up in not the best neighborhoods, that we are people of color in this country, and that we are here today. We are holding space in the nation's capital, in the same place where people in the civil rights movement fought and won. And if you do not think that we can win, and if you allow that thought to be able to creep into your mind, then you have nothing to do here in this tent. This is a tent for people that are going to throw down 100% for the next couple of days. This is a tent of people that believe in their hearts and their guts that we're going to throw everything that we have as Democrats and Republicans, that we're going to do everything that we have to ensure that we bring pride and justice to our communities and our families. We have to believe that this happens, and this will happen. But I want to be very clear. When we win in December, that will not be the end of our fight. It is just the beginning. We are not defined by policy. We are not defined by the DREAM Act. Just because you call us dreamers is not just about the bill. We are here because we have a larger vision for our democracy. We have a larger vision for our families, and we're going to fight like hell to ensure that all of our families are safe and at peace and can enjoy our food in December without thinking about what's going to happen in January. Who's ready for their good food? And now, brothers and sisters, this is the closest that we have ever been to winning the DREAM Act. This is the closest. We've been doing this for more than 10 years, and we're so close we can taste it. And so now what will be required of us in the next couple of days will be discipline, to not allow the naysayers to get into your head and tell you maybe you should wait till January. Fuck that. We are not going to wait. We are not going to be able to wait. No excuses. No excuses left. And so when that thing creeps into your mind or someone wants to tell you that, then what are you doing here? You don't belong here. We are here because we're winners and we're going to get this done. So now for the last couple of days, I have been struggling to figure out where my hope lies and where I am, and I'm so glad to be in this tent with all of you. I know that there's people here that would not benefit directly from the DREAM Act. I know that there's people here that have given their whole lives and quit their jobs to make sure that we're here. And I've shared this in other spaces, and when I feel my heart faltering, and when I hear that little thought in my mind of doubt, the thing that always comes to me is the poem by June Jordan, who is a black immigrant woman. And she wrote this poem, and I think it's best sung. And so if you are ready to throw everything that you have, if you are ready to ensure that there's discipline in our minds and that Democrats and Republicans feel the pressure, stand up. If you're ready. I want you to feel the ground under your feet, because this is sacred ground. This is the ground of the ancestors of the freedom fighters. This is the ground that our parents put their blood and their sweat to ensure that we were standing in. Feel it. And know that this is our place. We are here to stay. And so whenever that creepy thought of doubt comes into your brain, I offer to you the song by June Jordan. And you can join me by repeating after each of the pieces. You ready? You ready?
Yes!
We have come too far.
We have come too far.
We won't turn around.
We won't turn around.
We'll flood the streets with justice.
We'll flood the streets with justice.
We are freedom bound.
We are freedom bound.
We have come too far.
We have come too far.
We won't turn around.
We won't turn around.
We'll flood the streets with justice.
We'll flood the streets with justice.
We are freedom bound.
We are freedom bound.
This next one, I want you to sing it as loud as you can so that Congress can hear us. We have come too far.
We have come too far.
We won't turn around.
We won't turn around.
We'll flood the streets with justice.
We'll flood the streets with justice.
We are freedom bound.
We are freedom bound.
What do we want?
Freedom!
When do we want it?
Now!
When?
Now!
When?
Now!
When?
Now!
All right, let's go get it!
Can we just get a clip on people Tanner? And then send it out to the she goes into
No, video. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you had it? If it's so big, how do you start video? What's the size? Can you show me? And then send that link to me and
어떨까? 일단 여기다 놨다. 여기 하나 놨다. 아니 저 하나 좀 얻어와. 이쪽으로 가자. 뛰면 돼. 형 뛰면 돼. 딱 왼쪽으로 가면은 밀려. 옆에 옮겼다가 하면 돼.
제일 나은 것 같아요. 데이트가 어떻게 돼?
근데 먼저 스타벅스가 다 괜찮아요.
빨리 보는 게 중요해.
Better.
Vamos a hacer un cluster aquí de sillas para que ahorita van a empezar a llegar varios congresistas para que puedan tener
Hello? Hey, it's me! Okay, so real quick, I just want to make an announcement. Hi, I'm Leslie from United We Dream. We have this beautiful tree metron literally down the mall, and I want your beautiful faces to be on it. If you are on social media, make sure to tweet out Instagram and put your image or video on Facebook using the hashtag #TreeMatNow, so your voice can be featured on the tree metron. So that every time Congress looks out the window, they see the faces of the people that are offensive at their neck.
It's okay.
Sounds good? Sounds good? What's the hashtag?
아직 한참 남은 것 같아요. 네.
I don't doubt it, sorry. That was the one thing I said.
응? 네. Huh? Oh yeah,
these
yeah.
chairs over there.
Yes.
All right. Have little
So like you see, if you send your videos, images, you're going to be on the screen.
Wait, I have a question.
Hey folks, if you're Honey Badger, please feel more than welcome to sign our awesome banner that we worked so hard on, because that is our space. We'll be also folks, if you can
Sorry.
the video for